All right, let's dive right in. Today we're talking about one of the biggest shifts happening in the world of work. We're going to break down how a single person with the right mindset and the right tools, like AI, can now build things that used to take an entire company.
This quote from designer Brunello Cucinelli, it's the perfect place to start. For literally centuries, we've all been sold this idea that putting in more hours means creating more value. But what if that whole equation is just wrong? This idea, focusing on the quality of your work, not the quantity, is absolutely key to understanding where everything is headed.
And this right here really captures the crazy paradox we're all living in. On one side, you have someone grinding it out, playing by the old rules of hard work. And on the other, you have someone who's totally focused on leverage and skill. Now, this isn't some fantasy. This is a new reality that's possible because the economy itself is changing. So the real question is, what keeps so many of us trapped on the left side of this picture?
Well, the answer actually starts inside our own minds. The trap isn't just about working long hours for no reason. It's a psychological state that traditional work actively pushes us into.
The main culprit is this thing called psychic entropy. You know that feeling of mental chaos, that distraction you feel when your work has no clear personal goal behind it? That's it. It's basically the default state for a mind that's just stuck in a routine that society gave you, not one you chose for yourself.
So this chart maps out three totally different states of mind. You see, most people, especially after they turn 25, get kind of locked into that psychic entropy state as their brain's patterns sort of crystallize, and that just leads to stagnation. But the goal, the real prize, is to get to high agency. That's a state of deep, intentional focus that leads to incredible growth. So the critical question becomes, how in the world do you force yourself to make that shift? You have to engineer it. And believe it or not, the escape plan doesn't start with some dreamy, positive vision of the future. It starts by facing the pain of where you are right now. So, if just dreaming about a better life usually leads you right back to your old habits, what gives you the raw power you need to actually break free? Well, the answer is to flip the whole script. It's a concept called constructing an anti-vision. Instead of focusing on what you want, you vividly and kind of brutally write down everything you hate about your current reality. The whole goal is to make the pain of staying the same so real, so unbearable, that it becomes way worse than the pain of doing the hard work to change. This resourceful pain, as they call it, becomes your rocket fuel. Okay, so now let's zoom out. Because this internal drive for change, this anti-vision you might be building, it's not happening in a vacuum. It is perfectly aligned with a massive economic transformation that's happening all around us, right now. For the past 200 years, the world ran on what's called economies of scale. Bigger was always better. Standardization was king. Think Henry Ford's Model T. You can have any color as long as it's black. But AI has completely flipped that logic. We're now in an era of economies of specificity, where the real advantage comes from creating unique, super relevant solutions for every single customer. It's actually become cheaper to customize than to standardize.
And that shift completely changes the game. Think about it like this. An individual can operate like bacteria. They can iterate, learn, and evolve in a matter of hours. But a big organization, with all its layers of management and approvals, it moves like sedimentary rock. It takes years to change. In a world that rewards speed and adaptation, the individual's super-fast learning loop is the ultimate competitive advantage.
And hey, if you need proof that the sedimentary rock just can't keep up, here it is. A staggering 95% of corporate AI projects fail. And you might ask why? It's because these huge organizations are trying to use a technology of infinite adaptation to make their old, rigid systems just a little bit more efficient. It's like they're trying to use a violin as a hammer.
So what's the individual's violin? What's the force multiplier that allows one person to compete with and honestly even outpace a 50-person team? It all comes down to how you think about AI. This right here is probably the single most important mental shift you can make. Most people have a tool mindset. They see AI as something passive, like Excel, that you use when you need it. But the real power, the game-changing power, comes from the staff mindset. Seeing AI as a team of capable, specialized agents that you delegate complex work to. You're not just using a tool anymore, you're directing a workforce. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. When you combine a truly motivated individual with a massive global economic shift, and you give them an AI-powered team, a whole new reality becomes possible. Just think about the sheer scale of this opportunity. The CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, predicted that a one-person, billion-dollar company isn't just possible, he said it's basically inevitable. Now that's not hype,
It's a structural prediction. When one person can coordinate a whole team of AI agents, that old link between how many people you employ and how much your company is worth is completely broken.
And this isn't just some theory, you know. People are actually building systematic engines like this right now. You can take a framework like the 2-hour content ecosystem. The core idea is super simple. You create one central piece of really high-value content, and then you use your AI staff to basically atomize it, turning it into dozens of tweets, articles, and video scripts. It's a system for turning a single hour of deep, focused work into a whole week's worth of valuable stuff online.
So the old rules are broken. The Goliaths of the industrial age are getting outmaneuvered by these fast, adaptive, AI-powered Davids. Your biggest competitor is no longer the big company down the street. It's a focused individual, a team of one. So the only question left is, what will you build?